The sky over Oakland was painted in shades of gray on that autumn afternoon, with a light drizzle beginning to fall over the city. Stephen Curry sighed, tired after another intense training session with the Golden State Warriors. The season was about to begin, and the pressure was constant. Consulting his GPS, he decided to take a shortcut through a lower-middle-class residential neighborhood to avoid congestion on the expressway. Curry's Porsche moved slowly through streets lined with modest houses, with small, well-maintained gardens, and older cars parked on the sidewalks. The fine rain tapped on the windshield, creating an almost hypnotic rhythm as he waited for the light to change at the corner of Elm Street and Oak Avenue. That's when something caught his attention. Across the street, sitting at a small folding plastic table, a boy of about 10 years old was facing the drizzle with determination. The boy wore a Warriors jersey, ironically with Curry's number 30, already slightly faded and too big for his thin body. On the table, a shoebox full of packages of homemade sweets and a handwritten sign with colorful letters. Sweets, $2. Help my mom. There was something in the boy's gaze that captured Steph's attention. A silent determination, a maturity beyond his years. The boy politely approached the few pedestrians passing by, but most continued without stopping. When the light turned green, Curry hesitated. Instead of accelerating, he pulled the car over to the curb. Something about that scene resonated within him, reminding him of the values his own parents had taught him about persistence and compassion. Adjusting the cap and sunglasses he wore to maintain a certain anonymity in public, Steph walked to the boy's table. "Hey, friend, what are you selling there?" he asked with a genuine smile. The boy straightened his posture, clearly not recognizing the basketball star in front of him. "They're brownies and cookies, sir. My grandmother taught me how to make them. $2 each." "They look delicious," commented Steph. "What's your name?" "Marcus," replied the boy, extending his hand with a formality that seemed out of place in someone so young. "Why are you selling sweets in the rain, Marcus? Is it for a school project?" The boy shook his head, his gaze momentarily dropping to the table. "It's to buy medicine for my mom. She has diabetes and lost her health insurance when she was fired last month. Her insulin costs almost $300. Marcus explained with impressive frankness. "She works 2 jobs now, but we barely have money for rent." Curry felt a lump in his throat as the boy continued. "She only sleeps 4 hours a night, so I thought I could help." Marcus pointed to the box with pride. "I've already made $43 in 3 days." During the conversation, the boy's eyes finally widened in recognition. "Wait, are you Steph Curry?" When Steph confirmed with a smile, Marcus's eyes filled with tears. "My mom and I watch all your games. It's the only thing we do together now that she works so much." Touched by the story and the boy's maturity, Steph took his wallet from his pocket. "I'll take all the sweets you have," he said, handing over a $100 bill. "But that's too much," protested Marcus. "No, it's not," Curry responded softly, taking a paper from his pocket. "And I need your address and phone number. What you're doing for your mom, it's special, Marcus. More special than any shot I've ever made. I promise I'll do more than just buy sweets." As he returned to his car with the box of sweets, the rain began to fall harder over Oakland. In the rearview mirror, Steph saw Marcus looking at the $100 bill with an expression that mixed confusion and hope. The 2-bedroom apartment on the 3rd floor was small, but Angela Davis managed to transform it into a home. Family photos decorated the faded yellow painted walls, and in the living room, prominently displayed, a framed poster of the Golden State Warriors found at a clearance sale and given to Marcus on his last birthday. It was almost 8 in the evening when Angela turned the key in the lock. Her blue convenience store uniform was wrinkled after 12 hours on her feet. The 35-year-old woman tried to hide her exhaustion when she saw her son running towards her, but the deep circles under her eyes and slumped shoulders gave her away. "Mom! Mom! You won't believe it!" Marcus was practically jumping with excitement. "Guess who bought my sweets today? Steph Curry! Steph Curry himself!" Angela smiled tenderly as she hung her worn coat on the hook behind the door. "Really, dear? What a wonderful imagination you have," she replied, accustomed to the creative stories her son invented to cheer her up on difficult days. "No, Mom, it's true," Marcus insisted, pulling the $100 bill from his pocket. "Look, he bought all the sweets and gave me this." The smile disappeared from Angela's face, replaced by an expression of genuine concern. "Marcus, where did this money come from?" she asked firmly, kneeling to be at eye level with her son. "You know you shouldn't accept money from strangers, or—" "But it was Curry, Mom. He was in his car and stopped to buy my sweets. He asked for our address and phone number. He said he would help." Angela took a deep breath, divided between fear and hope that, perhaps, the impossible had happened. Meanwhile, a few miles away, in a spacious house in Orinda, Steph Curry was sitting at the kitchen island with his wife, Aisha. The box of homemade sweets lay open between them. "These aren't bad," commented Aisha, trying a brownie. "So this kid was selling sweets in the rain to buy insulin for his mom?" Steph nodded, his expression serious. "I read a report about this last week," continued Aisha, picking up her tablet. "Millions of Americans are having to choose between food and medicine. Families with children are the most affected. The kid had such dignity, you know? He didn't even seem to be asking for help, just doing what he could for his mom." Steph thoughtfully rotated his phone between his fingers. "I think I can do something more meaningful than give $100. The next morning, Angela was preparing coffee when her cell phone rang. Unknown number. Normally, she would ignore it, fearing bill collectors, but something made her answer. "Hello, Angela Davis? This is Stephen Curry." The silence on the other end was so long that Steph thought the call had dropped. "If this is some kind of joke," Angela's voice finally responded, trembling. "It's not a joke. I met your son yesterday selling sweets. Marcus, right? Warriors jersey, number 30? The cup slipped from Angela's hands, spilling coffee on the small kitchen counter. "My God, he was telling the truth," she whispered, partly in shock, partly embarrassed by the exposed situation. "I'd like to visit you. Today, if possible," continued Steph. "It's not about charity, Angela. It's about a connection I felt with your son's effort. Can we talk?" Hours later, Steph parked discreetly near the apartment building. No cameras, no entourage, just a man carrying a box of meals prepared by his wife. Angela opened the door hesitantly, the embarrassment evident on her face. The initial conversation was uncomfortable, with Marcus watching in admiration while his mother tried to maintain her composure. It was when Steph noticed something on the shelf. "Is that a nursing degree?" he asked, pointing to the document partially hidden behind books. Angela's face changed, a mixture of pride and pain emerging. "Almost. I had 2 semesters left when I had to quit. The costs, Marcus needing me?" She took a deep breath. "I dreamed about it my whole life. I ended up as an attendant and cleaner because they're the only jobs with hours I can juggle." Marcus approached with his school notebook, showing Steph, pages full of complex math problems and detailed drawings of basketball plays. "He's brilliant," commented Angela, maternal love momentarily lighting up her exhausted face. His teacher said he could be 2 grades ahead. As he left the apartment that afternoon, Steph Curry was no longer just a basketball star impressed by a boy selling sweets. He was deeply touched by the dignity of that family, facing circumstances that no one should face, and determined to do something meaningful about it. 2 weeks passed like a blur. In the elegant conference room of the Stephen and Aisha Curry Foundation, the basketball star stood before an oval table, surrounded by attentive board members. Screens displayed graphs and spreadsheets as Steph presented his vision with the same intensity he demonstrated on the court. "We're calling it Beyond the Game," he explained, pointing to the logo projected on the wall. "A program dedicated to families with children who demonstrate extraordinary initiative during medical crises." Bob Myers, former general manager of the Warriors and now a foundation board member, leafed through the detailed proposal. "It's not just temporary financial assistance," Curry continued. "It's scholarships, professional guidance for parents, mentoring. We want to transform lives, not just moments." Meanwhile, miles away, Angela was using her precious 20 minutes of lunch break at the mini-market. Seated on an overturned box in the storage room, she researched medical assistance programs on her cracked-screen cell phone. Each website showed the same: endless waiting lists or criteria that did not contemplate her specific situation. "Angela, you look exhausted," commented Rita, her manager, appearing at the door. "Maybe you should reduce your hours." Angela forced a smile. If only Rita knew that fewer hours would mean not being able to pay next month's rent. At Oakland Elementary School, Mrs. Rodriguez was watching Marcus with concern. For the 3rd time that week, the boy had dozed off during science class. "Marcus," she called gently after class, "is everything okay at home? You seem very tired lately." The boy hesitated before responding. "I'm helping my mom make sweets until late. We need to sell more to buy her medicine." The teacher exchanged glances with the school counselor, who was noting every word. That child carried responsibilities too big for his small shoulders. At another point in the city, Steph Curry was walking through the corridors of Oakland Community Hospital alongside Dr. Sarah Chen, the institution's medical director. "I understand your vision, Mr. Curry, but these families need sustainable solutions, not just momentary charity," the doctor argued skeptically. Steph smiled, handing her a folder. "That's why I brought this, Dr. Chen. Partnerships with 3 pharmaceutical companies, a 5-year budget, gradual expansion plans. I'm not just throwing money at the problem." The doctor examined the ETV documents, her eyebrows rising in surprise as she turned the pages. That night, Angela sat on the edge of Marcus's bed. The apartment was quiet except for the distant noise of traffic and the buzzing of the old refrigerator. "The school called today," she said softly. "Your teacher is worried." Marcus hugged his pillow. "Sorry, Mom. I'll try not to sleep in class." "That's not it, dear." Angela adjusted her son's hair. "You shouldn't be worried about medicine or bills. You should just be a child." "It's going to be okay," Marcus replied with a maturity that broke Angela's heart. "I'll keep helping." Meanwhile, at the Warriors training center, Steph was talking to his coach. "I need tomorrow afternoon off. It's an important personal matter." The coach, knowing his star player's character, nodded without hesitation. "You never ask for this without a good reason, Steph." Back at the apartment, Angela sat at the kitchen table, examining an almost empty vial of insulin under the dim light. Calculator in hand, she was making impossible calculations, trying to stretch every dollar, every drop of the vital medication. Her phone vibrated, a message from her supervisor: "Take tomorrow off. Paid. Orders from above." Angela frowned. confused. It was the same day for which Steph Curry had invited her and Marcus to visit his foundation. Coincidence? She no longer believed in coincidences, nor in miracles. But perhaps, just maybe, something extraordinary was about to happen. The Curry Foundation building in downtown Oakland was modern and inviting, not ostentatious. Angela firmly held Marcus's hand as they climbed the entrance steps, both dressed in their best clothes. He in a dress shirt that had belonged to his father, she in a simple dress she kept for special occasions. "Remember, be polite, and—" Angela began, nervously adjusting her son's collar. "I know, Mom," Marcus responded with a reassuring smile. The automatic doors opened, and, to their surprise, it was Aisha, Curry herself, who greeted them in the lobby decorated with photographs of children and families. "Angela and Marcus, we've been waiting for you," said Aisha with a warm smile. "Come with me." As they walked down the hallway, Marcus gazed in wonder at the photos of Steph with various communities. Angela, on the other hand, felt her stomach tighten. What exactly was happening? Aisha opened the doors to a conference room, and Angela froze in the entrance. The room was full, men and women in formal attire, some faces she recognized from Warriors games, and in the center, Stephen Curry, with his characteristic smile. "Please, come in," Steph gestured, indicating two empty places at the oval table. Angela squeezed Marcus's hand as they sat down, feeling completely out of place among those important people. "Angela, Marcus," began Steph, standing up, "I want to officially introduce you to the Beyond the Game program." He pointed to a projection on the wall with the logo. "A program inspired by a boy I found selling sweets in the rain." Marcus's eyes widened, looking at his mother in amazement. "But this isn't about charity," Curry continued. "It's about recognizing determination and creating opportunities." A man in a suit stood up. "I'm David Coleman, from Insulin for All. Ms. Davis, we're launching a pilot program to provide reduced-cost insulin for patients without adequate insurance. We would like you to be our first participant." Before Angela could process the information, a middle-aged woman took the floor. "I'm Diana Rodriguez, Director of the Oakland Academy of Sciences. Marcus has demonstrated extraordinary abilities in mathematics. We would like to offer him a full scholarship in our program for talented youth." Dr. Chen, whom Angela didn't know, explained how the community hospital would provide complete follow-up care for her diabetes, at no cost. Finally, a bald man introduced himself as the HR Director of Oakland Medical Center. "Ms. Davis, we've seen your incomplete academic record. We would like to offer a position as an administrative assistant in the nursing department, with flexible hours and assistance to complete your bachelor's degree." Angela sat motionless, unable to contain the tears that silently ran down her face. When she finally found her voice, it wasn't gratitude for the money or benefits that she expressed first. "You don't know what it means to be treated with dignity," she said, with a choked voice. "To give me the chance to earn a future on my own merit, not just receive help." 6 months later, the transformation was evident. Angela, now with color in her cheeks and renewed energy, divided her time between work at the hospital and evening classes to complete her degree. Her diabetes was finally under control. Marcus was flourishing in the new school program. His project on the application of mathematics in basketball had gained prominence at the regional science fair. That night, they were VIP guests at a Warriors game. During halftime, the Jumbotron displayed a video telling their story and the impact of the Beyond the Game program, which had already reached 4 other families in Oakland. The entire arena applauded when the announcer announced that part of the ticket revenue would go to the program. After the exciting game, backstage, Marcus handed Steph a carefully wrapped box. "They're brownies from Grandma's recipe," the boy explained shyly. "I thought you might like some more." Curry smiled, accepting the gift. "With that talent, maybe you should open a bakery in the future." "Actually," replied Marcus thoughtfully, "I'm thinking about medicine or engineering. But whatever I choose, I want to help people like you did with us." As he watched mother and son walking away hand in hand, Steph reflected on how that rainy afternoon had transformed into something much bigger than he could have imagined. In his heart, he knew it wasn't he who had saved Angela and Marcus. It was their determination that had inspired him to create something meaningful and lasting. The true miracle wasn't in what Steph Curry had done for a family, but in what that family had awakened in all of them. The capacity to transform small acts of kindness into changes that would multiply over the coming years, far beyond the game.